Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? And welcome to the latest edition of Drew Media Live. So great to have you with us for this Thursday, the 27th day of January, the year 2022. And of course, this is yours truly, Andrew Perry. Thank you very much. As always, coming to you live and at you from the busy streets of New York City as I chat to you what is happening in the world of sports. Well, we have a lot to discuss today as far as the NFL playoffs, you name it, whatever, the NFL playoffs, and I was, folks, I was thinking about doing. I'm not gonna hold you, folks. I was thinking about doing, I was going to open the show talking about, the NFL playoffs and what a weekend it was as far as the NFLs go, and show you and tell you why the NFL is the best, is the best sport in America, and why the NFL always deliver from the Cincinnati Bengals to the Tennessee Titans to the Bills and the Chiefs overtime thriller. This weekend of football shows you why the division round in the playoff in NFL playoffs is the best round of football, playoff football of all the playoffs in the NFL, including the Super Bowl. I'm going to start about the NFL, but I'm going to put that on hold for now and focus on baseball, because this past Tuesday, the Hall of Fame was announced, and David Ortiz got into the Hall of Fame by 77 votes by a small margin. He only needed at least 11 voters to get going and so forth, to me and David Ortiz, I mean, as for me, I don't know about you folks, I have no problem David Ortiz getting into the Hall of Fame, not at all, because no one's not going to question it. He's a great hitter. He changed the fortune of Red Sox forever in 2004 when he was the main contributor of why the Red Sox came back from a 3-0 deficit against the Yankees and win the World Series that following year in 2004, and changed the fortune of not only changed the fortune of the Red Sox and the Yankees too, which is another topic for another day. But it should be a celebration for David Ortiz, and no one is not going to question it. But that's not what's the biggest story is, to me, for the Baseball Hall of Fame, is the hypocrisy. And what I mean, why I bring up hypocrisy in baseball in that sentence, because David Ortiz at one point was tested positive for HGH, known as steroids, and Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds was cheated, used steroids. Everybody their mama knew used steroids. Oh, and let's not and let me not get started on the Pete Rose. But anyway, let's focus on that. So there was a lot of steroid guys that's in the ballot yesterday. A-Rod. There are guys who's there's a lot of steroid guys in the Hall of Fame already. What if they in the Conseco book in 2005 or in the Mitchell Report? Be as it may, David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame. Despite the fact, he did test positive for steroids, but nobody's not going to take away his. Nobody is questioning that if he's a Hall of Fame or not. David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer. Yes, that's not the point. But that's not the point. the point is, the hypocrisy is either you're going to put them in, or you're going to put all the steroid guys that use steroids, or you don't put them in at all. And Todd, I don't know why. They put a lot of guys in there that wasn't going to get it. That was not wasn't going to get a lot of votes. Like Todd Helton, first baseman, played for the Colorado Rockies. He wasn't going to get in. Kurt Schilling wasn't going to get a lot, even though Kurt Schilling is a hell of a pitcher. 7-2 in the postseason in baseball. So he would get in. Jeff Kent, I thought, would get in. Alex Rodriguez, for his first ballot, he wasn't going to get in. But despite all that, the Hall of Fame, the Baseball Hall of Fame has got to the point now it's become a joke. And to the way I see it, some guys lately, who get into the Hall of Fame, it's become very, very too exclusive. Very too exclusive. Now, with David Ortiz, I mean, he's a 3-time World Series hitter. He's a designated hitter. As I mentioned before, he's a great hitter. He changed the Red Sox fortune forever. I mean, the Red Sox has become a winning culture now. Has become a powerhouse. Well, the Red Sox has always been a powerhouse, but you get what I'm saying. They become a championship caliber team thanks to David Ortiz. And you could add Manny Ramirez to the mix too, but Manny Ramirez used steroids too, so let's not sit here and exclude him. But the biggest story for me for Major League Baseball is how the writers don't put Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, who everybody and their mama who watch baseball. What if you watch baseball for a long time, or you watch baseball? If you watch baseball for a long time, everybody knows that Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds are Hall of Famers way before the steroids. And the fact they not in and they put Ortiz in, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And personally, it rubbed me the wrong way. And it should. And if you're gonna put Ortiz in, despite the fact he failed the drug test, if that's the case, you should have put Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds in. Because Barry Bonds, for example, and also we gotta add this too. Nobody in baseball like Barry Bonds. We all know how much of an a-hole Barry Bonds can be. But some people think Barry Bonds tell it like it is. Barry Bonds didn't kiss nobody's ass. Let's keep that in mind. Barry Bonds didn't kiss nobody's ass. No that he should. But me personally, if I had a ballot, I would not vote him in because he cheated. That's the only reason why I would have voted him in. Other than that, if he didn't use steroids at all, you know, I would have put him in automatically. It's a no-brainer because he won multiple MVPs. But the problem I only have with Barry Bonds, honestly, in the postseason, he's not the same player. He is not the same player. And he should have won that championship in 2002 against the Angels when they had the lead. What if it's Game 5? What if it's Game 5? What if it's Game 6 or Game 7? They both blew that game, and they both and they had a lead in Game 7, and they let the Angels came all the way back and won the game. Or you could mention 2003. 2003, they won 100. I forgot what. I don't remember how much games they won, but they lost to the Marlins. They got upset by the Marlins. So you got to take that into the equation. So, and let's not get started on the 1990 the Pirates in the early 90s when they lost to the Reds, and they lost back to back to the Braves. So, but Barry Bonds became a great player and became an immortal player. And whoever wrote, I listened to Mad Dog, and whoever is the writer that said Barry Bonds is the undisputed home run king. Are you serious? The undisputed home run king and the home run champion who wins 77, who had the whole, is Henry Aaron. And the home run king is still Roger Maris. So let's calm it down. I know I'm all over the place, but the thing that really annoys me when I heard David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame. In the Hall of Fame, Roger Clemens. So you gonna put a guy, even though he's well deserved and very light, but you don't want no steroid guys in the Hall of Fame. Mind you, there's a lot of steroid guys who's already in the Hall of Fame. For example, Paul Rodriguez, he's in the Hall of Fame. So let's not say. So if we gonna put all the guys who's been expected of using steroids, or we don't put him in at all. But the fact you put David Ortiz in, it shows how hypocrisy in MLB is. A lot of hypocrisy. And so is other things. As far as Roger Clemens goes, even though Roger Clemens is a great pitcher, I really don't care about Roger Clemens. I'm not going to sit here and say I like Roger Clemens. I never cared about Roger Clemens. I thought Roger Clemens was... if I had to pick between Roger Clemens or Barry Bonds, I'll pick Barry Bonds more than Roger Clemens. I really would. I really, really would. But but enough about baseball. Let's move on to football. Move on to the playoffs. And before we get into the AFC, before we get to Championship Sunday, wow. Let's talk about the division round playoffs this past weekend. And I don't know where to start. I really don't. We could start with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans was the less out of all the games was less talked about this past weekend. Ryan Tannehill screwed up that game. Ryan Tannehill, and despite the fact, yes, Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times, and if it wasn't for the defense of the Tennessee Titans, I feel that game should not. It's shockingly how for the Titans to sack Burrow 9 times. The game was closer than it is. Matter of fact, it should have, but I don't know how you kept that game close and still lose the game. And honestly, on my way home back from work Saturday night, I was thinking to myself, I think that the Titans might consider drafting a quarterback because let's face it, the Tennessee, you cannot win a football game with Ryan Tannehill. You really can't. He proved it on Sunday. And how many times has the Tennessee Titans been in this situation? How many times and come to think of it, the more I think about this, I want to ask everybody something. When's the last time Tennessee have won a home playoff game? Guys, since the Music City Miracle in 1999 against the Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans have not won a home playoff game. They have not. They lost in 2008 against the Baltimore Ravens. They lost last year against the Ravens. They lost against Tennessee. They lost against Cincinnati in a field goal. So